What is up, guys? So I just finished reading a book that I dare say changed my life. What book is that? That is The Secrets of Greek Mysticism by George Lizos. So why do I think it's so life-changing? We will talk about that in this review. So like I always like to do, I'll show you guys the front and back cover of the book. So it is Secrets of Greek Mysticism, a modern guide to daily practice with the Greek gods and goddesses. And so what is this book about? So you got some praise on the top. And it says, a clear introduction to the spiritual beliefs, rituals, and gods and goddesses of the Greek pantheon from a modern practitioner. So Secrets of Greek Mysticism is the first spiritual book about the Greek gods and goddesses written by a native practicing priest of Hellenic Polytheism. It goes beyond the simplistic archetypical representations of the Greek pantheon and reintroduces the gods and goddesses from a spiritual rather than a mythological perspective. Secrets of Greek Mysticism covers the 12 gods' birth stories, essence, and virtues, how to live and work with the gods on a daily basis, how to set up your altars, the foundations of ancient Greek spirituality, cosmology, and theology, how to find the gods and goddesses within yourself, and symbols, hymns, and meditations to guide you on your practice as you connect with the gods. And there's George, by the way. And with that said, I'll show you how the book breaks down. So we have 3 parts in chapters. So you have chapter 1, and it starts with types of religions, then the universe and the cosmos, the gods and goddesses, mythology versus theology, humans and the gods, the soul's journey of ascension, the spiritual meaning of Olympus, meditation prep process, and then it goes into the 12 gods. Hera, Poseidon, Athena, Aphrodite, Apollo, Hermes, Zeus, Demeter, Hephaestus, Ares, Artemis, and Hestia, and meaning your guardian god or goddess. So you'll notice that the glaring one that a lot of people notice is that George does not include Dionysus in the 12. So Dionysus is missing because it is 12. He sticks it strictly to 12. He doesn't add and 13. But it continues a year with the gods, performing rituals, monthly festival ritual, new moon ritual, full moon ritual, then follows it up with receiving signs and receiving intuitive guidance. So this is a book that I just accidentally happened to stumble upon. I didn't hear anyone else talking about, hey, this book is coming out. I just happened to be on YouTube and I saw an interview with George Lizos, and he was promoting this book. And this is a unique viewpoint that more people need to read and check out, especially here, us in the outside the Greece area, I guess you could say the English-speaking world, that we needed more voices like this so we can understand how they practice in the home country of Greece. And that's definitely what this book is. And this book is really unique in that point that you actually have somebody that lives in Greece, that is a priest in Greece, sharing how they practice in Greece. And that is why I really enjoy this book. And I say it's life-changing for a lot of reasons. And a big thing is that this book follows a lot of the beliefs I already had. So if you follow the works of Sallustius, which he does mention in this book, and that would be a plus for sure. So what do I mean by that? So this book follows in the belief that all the gods are good. So what this book does is that it gives you guidance on how to meditate and connect with the gods. Also, like I said, it explains who the gods are and what the gods are and why do we pray to the gods. This is heavily influenced by the philosopher Sallustius, among others, but you can tell, and he does mention it in the book, that Sallustius, the teachings of, have still followed to this day. such as that there are no evil gods, that the gods are all good, that the gods have no physical body, that there is no true male or female, but female and male energies, and that's how come we relate Zeus to male and Aphrodite to female, for example. So that is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it will give you an insight of how they view the gods in Greece. And again, this is not just him giving his opinion the entire book, but he backs it up with philosophers and quotations and resources. So let me show you a little bit more and give you an example of the kind of work he does in this book. And the plus, though, is that if you don't like what this book is going for, he says that's okay. He says you don't have to agree with what he has to say. And in some parts and sections of the book, he says that if certain parts don't match what you feel, then you can adapt it to make it work for you. So this is a book that really is not saying that, hey, you got to do it my way, that this is the only way. But it also tells you that if this way does not work for you on some parts of this, you can adapt it and change some parts to make it fit better for your own spiritual life. Because this book is really about spiritual ascension. He focuses on how the gods help us grow spiritually every day, how we can pray to the gods and they can help us better our lives so we can become better people to better serve the community. And we work on our ascension, meaning reincarnation, that what we learn in this life, we learn, and the gods help us learn what we need, and we continue to grow. So let me show you a section I thought was really interesting, talking about Demeter and Hades. You know, sometimes they say that you cannot put certain gods or goddesses on the altar together. And he says that you can have Demeter and Hades, or who he calls Pluto, I should say, have them on the same altar. And he talks about how the energies are actually the same sides, two different sides of the same coin. And I don't want to spoil it, but let me read this section. This is just one section I thought was interesting. Seeking to embrace both the masculine energy of creation and the feminine energy of rest, I set up an altar to both Demeter and Pluto, the god of the underworld. Every morning, I'd go to the altar, recite the hymn to the two gods, light a candle, and set an intention for balancing my masculine and feminine energy. Doing that first in the morning set the tone for my day and invited both gods to flow through me and guide the day. Demeter and Pluto both reminded me that one cannot exist without the other. If the Earth's vegetation was in a constant process of growing and flourishing, the soil's nutrients would get depleted. Conversely, if nothing grew, the soil would become barren and lifeless. The cycle of blooming, withering is essential to the Earth's well-being as it is ours. In truth, the two seemingly contrasting energies are actually two sides of the same coin. During the winter, the Earth may seem barren on the surface, but deep in the soil is generating nutrients for the spring. Similarly, when plants flower in the spring and summer months, they continually release their young form to embrace growth until eventually it gives way and they return the nutrients back to the earth. Demeter's daughter Persephone, who splits her time between Demeter's and Pluto's realms, is both seen as the queen of the underworld and the goddess of spring, embodying the balanced state. So each chapter that goes over the gods, they also give how to connect with the god or goddess in our life, meaning that if we need the strength of Aries, how to connect and meditate to Aries, for example. Where to go in nature or where to go in your home to sit down and relax, and gives you a step-by-step meditation to connect to that god or goddess. Now, the way that he does it may not be everyone's cup of tea, which is going to be the theme of the review, is cup of tea, because the way he does it is that he'll tell you to sit down and, for example, part of the mantra is to say that I am Zeus. I am Zeus. I am Zeus. That's part of the mantra. Not to say that he is or you are or I am Zeus, but that the universe is one, that everything the universe touches flows with the universe. So connecting to that part of the universe. And it gives you a guided meditation on how you can use that as the mantra to see Zeus in your meditations. And so, again, he said that might not be for everyone, And if it's not, then you can just ignore that part of the book. But if that sounds like something that is really interesting to you, then he gives you the guide to how to use it. And also talks about your traditional things that new people that are new to this path would want to know. How to set up your altar, how to celebrate the holidays, what to give as offerings to the gods. All of that is in this book. And so it has your base covered when it comes to one-on-one stuff like that. And also it has more for the ones that are already more advanced that want to know more of how to worship and how to incorporate the gods in their lives and how to view the gods. If you want a completely interesting view of the gods, that's another reason, again, to get and read this book. So one section of the book I wanted to point out I thought was interesting was chapter 21, Meet Your Guardian God or Goddess. So I'll read some of this little section right here. So it says, having met the 12 gods and goddesses, you're now ready to meet your guardian god or goddess. Before we incarnate on the planet, we're all assigned a god or goddess to guide us on our journey. The god is chosen based on a few factors, including our specific life and soul purposes, the stage we're in on our ascension path, as well as our soul and human dispositions. Our guardian god or goddess accompanies us throughout our lives and is often in our future lives too. They act as our main points of contact when communicating with the other gods or goddesses in the spiritual world at large. Throughout our lives, we can have additional gods and goddesses that work with us depending on the stage we're in and the current lessons we're working on. For example, my guardian god is Apollo, who guides my blend of life purpose, including my spiritual, acting, and singing careers. For many years, however, I was assigned Aphrodite as a guardian goddess to help me heal sexual trauma and nurture self-love. So interesting. So there you go, guys. Needless to say, I really enjoyed the book, and I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I found it, because it really is something that if you embrace it, if you really read it, I think that it can do some good things in your life and help change your perspective in the good, positive way. And I'm always hungry and thirsty for books that are written by actual people who live in Greece, who practice in Greece. And that is something that we're lacking in the English-speaking world. They have plenty of books in Greece, but they're all written in Greek. So it's good and refreshing to finally have a book written to be shared with the world for us outside of Greece. And it helps with us understanding how to practice the way they do. So I would add this to my life-changing books. So the 3 books I would say now that have changed my life and helped me understand more and has led me further down the spiritual path are these 3. So we have The Secrets of Greek Mysticism by George Lizos, and that can be added with my 2 other favorite books, the Seleucus book, Seleucus on the Gods in the World, and Hellenic Polytheism, Household Worship by Labras. So these 3 I definitely recommend picking up. So, and it's interesting because they're all by Greek publication written in English, so it gives us an idea of how to actually practice the way they do over there. So, and that's what I'm big on. So there you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I really do enjoy this book, and like I said, it's been added up into my top 3 favorite books in Hellenic Polytheism. And I hope to see you guys later. I do have something special planned coming up in a few days, if everything works out. So you guys are going to enjoy that. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Bye.